Meet Kutsuzawa Kusei. He's spent his high school career perfecting the art of being invisible, a master of the quiet, introverted life. But the universe has a funny way of punishing silence, and for Kusei the sound of change is about to ring out with a definitive, mechanical clank. While everyone else is living out a sports anime in the middle of the classroom, Kusei is lost in the quiet click of a drafting pencil. He isn't just doodling, he's engineering. A Dutch-style design, Paulownia wood, lattice work, meticulous details that make his brain hum with satisfaction while the rest of the world screams for attention. The piece lasts exactly until a wet dust cloth meets the back of his head. It's not an attack, it's worse. It's total indifference. These rowdy guys who treat the classroom like a dugout barely even look his way. One of them flashes a grin that doesn't reach his eyes and says, "Man, my bad, my bad." They can't even get his name right. To them, he's just Utsuzawa, or some faceless extra who finally spoke up. He corrects them with the practiced exhaustion of someone used to being a ghost, only for them to assume his woodworking sketches are just anime art, close enough apparently. Across the room, the sun is shining on a completely different species, the gals. Seika Mizoguchi is currently the center of gravity, casually showing off photos of her modeling work. To a guy like Kohei, she's not just in a different social group, she's in a different atmosphere. Hey, pretty cool, right? Kusei tries to navigate the fallout of the dust cloth incident, but he's basically invisible until he's inconvenient. The popular guys only notice him when they need someone to dump their trash on, or in this case, a creepy guy to mock. The social friction is palpable, and Kusei is the only one feeling the heat. That's enough social interaction for 1 decade. Kusei slinks away, his shoulders slumped as he retreats to the only safe harbor left, the boys' bathroom. He just needs to wash his face and scrub off the feeling of being a social pariah. "I'm going to wash my face." He stares at his reflection, drowning in the what-ifs. He missed his chance to say something, anything that didn't sound like a stuttering mess. Now he's just another face in the background of Seika's bright, glamorous world. The slosh of the water in the sink is the only thing responding to his heavy sigh. High school is a series of pair-up moments designed to highlight exactly who doesn't belong. Kusei has accepted his fate as the loner introvert, but it doesn't mean it doesn't sting. He watches the others move with a confidence he can't even fathom, an effortless social grace that feels like a superpower he was never born with. In his head, every social misstep is a capital crime. If he ever tried to talk to a girl like Seika, he's certain the world would end with him tied to a social stake, branded a creep for the digital age. The thought sends him into a mental tailspin. Guilty of being way too creepy. He's halfway through questioning his entire existence when a voice cuts through the spiral. Someone is actually looking for him. Not to mock him, not to dump trash, but to ask for help. It's Yokokura, a girl who actually bothered to remember his name. "Ah, there you are, Kutsuzawa-kun." Yokokura has a broken step stool and a hunch that the guy with the detailed sketches might be able to help. Kusei doesn't just fix it, he masters it. The clock barely ticks before the job is done. For the first time, his weird hobby isn't a social anchor. It's a bridge. Ta-da, it's actually fixed. He attempts to play it cool, but there's a quiet pride in his voice as he mentions the family workshop. He's spent years helping out there, turning raw wood into something useful. Yokokura caught a glimpse of that passion in his notebook, and it turns out she's a lot more observant than the rest of the class combined. For a moment, the loner label feels a little lighter. He's actually talking to someone and it's going well? Yokokura is genuinely grateful, and even though the club meeting calls her away, the air between them isn't filled with the usual awkward static. Maybe he doesn't have a long way to go after all. As Yokokura heads off, Kusei tries to keep his expectations in check. He tells himself not to be arrogant, talking to 2 classmates doesn't make them best friends. But as he looks up at the sky, he reminds himself that even the grandest castles weren't built in a single night. Progress is slow, but it's happening. There's no need to rush. He walks through the softening light of the afternoon, convincing himself that there's someone out there he'll eventually click with. The world is big, and his pace is steady. For once, the silence of the walk home feels peaceful rather than lonely. That peace is about to be shattered by a very rhythmic, very blonde disaster. Seika is cruising down the sidewalk, humming to herself, completely unaware that her bike chain is 1 rotation away from a catastrophic failure. The rhythm of the afternoon is about to miss a beat. Kusei is busy comparing clouds to historical crests when reality hits him, literally. A metallic snap, a desperate skid, and a scream that cuts through his daydream. Before he can even register the ga, a bicycle and a very startled girl are hurtling directly into his personal space. What? Oh! The world stops. The dust settles, and Seika is braced for the impact that never quite landed. She's tangled in the bike, eyes squeezed shut, waiting for the sting, only to realize the person she slammed into is currently acting as her human shock absorber. It hurts, it doesn't. It doesn't hurt her because Kusei took the full force of the bike right to the solar plexus. He's currently fighting for every molecule of oxygen, doubled over in a heavy silence that only comes when your lungs have been temporarily turned into pancakes. She finally opens her eyes and sees the wreckage. Not of her bike, but of the guy she just steamrolled. The realization hits her like a second crash. He's seeing stars, and not the modeling kind. The solar plexus is a terrible place for a bike to land, and Kusei is currently a very convincing argument for why. He can barely form a coherent thought, let alone a sentence. Are you okay? Seika's energy returns at Mach speed. She's all over him, checking if he's alive while he's just trying to remember how to breathe. He recognizes her. She's the gal from his class, the one at the top of the food chain. He struggles to recall her name, but his brain is currently offline. Doguchi-san, was it? Mistake number 1. Get the popular girl's name wrong. Doguchi is just her friend. She's Mizoguchi Seika. Kusei's internal alarm is screaming bullying gopher and social shakedown. He's already planning his own funeral. I'm Mizoguchi Seika. Kohezi is ready to meet his maker. He's apologizing to his parents for dying so young, but Seika isn't sharpening a knife. She's laughing. She thinks he's hilarious. The terrifying gal is actually having the time of her life at his expense, and for once, the laugh isn't mean. Who? You're going to die? He gives her his name Kutsuzawa Kusei and the characters for health and life. Seika mumbles it back, tasting the syllables, which immediately triggers Kusei's paranoid defense mechanisms. He's already imagining her friends showing up with bats to protect her from the creepy loner who's getting too clingy. He tries to make a break for it, but the universe isn't done with him. As Seika tries to move her bike, that chain gives up the ghost with a final metallic jangle. She's stranded, and Kusei is the only one standing there with the skill to do something about it. He can't just leave a broken machine. He steps in, his hands moving with the confidence of the workshop, and snaps the chain back into place. Seika looks at him like he just performed a miracle at the side of the road. What already? You're a god, Kutsuzawa-kun. The gratitude quickly turns into Kusei's worst nightmare, social media. She's already got her phone out, filming him for Twista. He tries to refuse, but her smile is like a flashbang, too bright to argue with. He crumbles under the sheer weight of her energy. Your face isn't in it, so it's fine. She laughs it off, saying it's just for friends. But that, crap she mumbles doesn't exactly inspire confidence. Kusei is ready to be done with this. He gives her one last piece of mechanical advice, replace that chain, and prepares to vanish before any more pro moves end up online. He just wants to get home and hibernate, but there's a shadow following him. He glaces back and there she is, wheeling her bike along at his pace. The extrovert has apparently decided they're travel buddies. Someone's following me. She's fishing for info, specifically where he lives. Kusei is terrified. Is she planning on following him all the way to his front door? He gives her the vaguest possible answer, but Seika just beams, wishing she lived closer to school too. To her, it's a casual chat. To him, it's a security breach. Just kidding, she's actually heading a different way. The tension breaks with a casual wave and a promise to see him tomorrow. Kusei stands there, watched by the setting sun, and lets out a sigh that's been building up since the crash. Later, see you tomorrow. He's barely had a second to process the complete mystery of her personal boundaries when the sound of running returns. She forgot something. She's charging back, her voice echoing down the street, and Kusei's heart rate is right back in the danger zone. Kutsuzawa-kun. She didn't come back for a joke or a modeling tip. She came back because she realized she hadn't said it properly. Her face is flushed from the run, her eyes bright and honest, and for the first time, Kusei sees the girl behind the gal reputation. Thanks again for fixing my bike. Then comes the high five. Or rather, a series of energetic smacks as Seika celebrates a successful social interaction like it's a grand slam. Kusei is completely lost, his hands stinging from the enthusiasm, but there's no denying the infectious nature of her joy. Yay, thank you, thank you. He watches her go, really for real this time. He's forced to admit he might have had her all wrong. She ran all that way back just to be sincere. It's a lesson he didn't expect to learn. You never really know a person until you actually talk to them, even if that talk involves a bike crash. She hasn't forgotten him either. She stands there repeating his name, Kutsuzawa Kusei, with a soft, genuine smile. Maybe that loner life is more fragile than he thought. The next morning, the classroom feels different. There's a buzz, a hum of gossip that usually passes Kusei right by. He walks in and shares a natural, easy good morning with Yokokura, feeling like he might actually be making progress in the real world. If only it stayed that way. The source of the noise? Seika's twista? Yokokura shows him the post, a photo of a guy fixing her bike with a caption calling him God tier. There's no face, just a hunched back and a school uniform. Kusei's stomach drops through the floor. Ah, yup, that's me. It's not just gossip, it's a crusade. The popular guys are already on a witch hunt to find the mystery man who dared to get close to their Mizoguchi. Kusei is pale, his breakfast threatening a comeback, as he realizes he's one identifiable detail away from social execution. I'll be killed. Speak of the devil. Seika walks into the classroom, bright and oblivious to the murderous intent brewing in the corners. Kusei is praying to every god he knows that she won't recognize him, won't speak to him, won't even look his way. But Seika has never been good at ignoring people. She spots him. She beams. She delivers the final blow with a voice loud enough to be heard in the next prefecture. The social stake is driven home, and Kusei hears the sound of his own life flatlining. Morning, Kutsuzawa-kun. Thanks again for yesterday.